I really didn't like that hallway. Ugh, the fuck is on that cover? What the hell is this room? It's freaking cold in here. It's like I'm in a freezer or something. If I just stand still, I might end up freezing to death. I should hurry up and investigate so I can get out of here already. None of the lights are on. There should be 9 lights on. No, I mean, if they put Junko's body in here, there should be 10 lights on. But there should be at least 9 lights on. There's no lights. Oh, and there's a Monokuma under the desk. That's fine. I'm not looking for Monokumas at this point. I'm just wanting the story. There's another manga just lying around here. This time the title is Manga for Morons, the biggest, most tragic, most awful event in human history. I knew it. The next one would obviously be about this incident. Just what was that incident really about? It might turn out to be something lame. I flipped through the pages of the manga and hoped that I was right. Hi Nagito, background. A story about creepily drawn characters who get involved in such horrifying incidents. An incident known as the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. Is this drawn so grotesquely because the incident itself is that grotesque? Anyway, the beginning of this creepy manga starts with this sentence. The tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy was simply the trigger. At first, the uprising by the reserve course students that triggered the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy was initially hoped to be resolved quickly, but the situation continued to escalate to dangerous extremes. The movement started spreading all over the internet and fostered a thriving online community. The community was not limited to students, and people of various races and nations began joining in. But the movement was not confined to the internet and began spreading and eroding the real world. When the movement started, it was indistinguishable from any other demonstration inspired by social unrest. But as it spread across the world, certain abnormalities soon came to light. By then it was too late. The ends and the means had already vanished, and wanton destruction became their only goal. The strong butchered the weak killed the weakest among them, and soon the weak formed factions to brutally murder the strong. As the violence and death continued to spread, the shock of their actions began to disappear. As if the era was regressing to more uncivilized times, when senseless deaths were the norm. The media was oversaturated with deaths to the point where people would watch them while enjoying a meal. By the time the world realized what it had become, it was too late to stop what had happened. A feeling of immense despair began spreading and eventually engulfed the world. Acts of terrorism and coup de grace began occurring around the world. A war raged in the name of despair. A war fought not for principles, religion, or personal gain. Just war. Pure war. And because of that, there was no way to resolve it. How could a movement started by high school students progress to such a hopeless scenario? The only explanation is the existence of a certain organization devoted to a certain student who influenced Hope's Peak Academy. A group called the Ultimate Despair. Instead of using Hope's Peak Academy's talents for the sake of mankind's hope, they used them for the sake of mankind's despair. Key members of the society used their influence to brainwash the masses in order to spread despair. Tech-savvy computer programmers wrote software to spread despair. Chihiro? The powerful and influential created new values and morals to spread despair. And with this, they created the tragedy. The biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. As long as ultimate despair exists, the despair engulfing the world will never end. The tragedy will never end. I'm terrified, honestly, Chaos. I'm terrified that something's going on that I don't want to happen. My heart was racing in my chest, but my body felt ice cold. And it wasn't because I was freezing in this room. The biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. This is definitely all made up. I mean, if this is really true, then what's happening in the outside world? My family, my friends, the convenience store I frequented, the nearby bookstore, my favorite restaurant. What's happened to them all?
No way!
Hey, are you seriously yelling at a manga? How crazy are you? Who would enjoy reading something like this?
What?
Oh my, you don't like the manga? A high school student who doesn't like it. Manga is like an officer lady who doesn't like the candy. Enough. What is this messed up manga? I thought you'd obviously know about it since such a horrible event that destroyed the world, but for you not to remember that, such despair. The Future Foundation's... That's the Future Foundation's fault, though. Thanks to them stealing your school memories. The incident that happened during that period has been completely removed from your brains. This incident really happened, and I actually forgot about it? There's no way that's possible.
What are you saying?
How many times do I have to tell you? All the clues here are real.
Hello.
Please understand, I'm rooting for you. If you don't learn about the full extent of the outside world, you guys will suffer for it. I just want to help you guys so you can live well-adjusted lives in the outside world. I see, so that's how it is. That's what he really meant by... That's what he meant by what he said at the beginning. Well, as your headmaster, I'm conflicted, you know. On one hand, I'm really happy that you're finally going to graduate. But on the other hand, I'm worried of whether you guys will be okay in the outside world. That's why I'm thinking about telling you all about what the outside world is like before you make a decision. Whether you want to leave Jabberwock Island or stay here. He's trying to make us feel despair towards the outside world, so we'll want to stay on this island. But there's no way I'm going to do what he wants. Despair like that simply can't exist. The outside world should be filled with hope, just like it is now. Perhaps, no, that's definitely it. Whether or not this incident really happened, what in the world is this ultimate despair group? If they're devoted to a certain student who guided Hope's Peak Academy to its destruction, are they connected to both the tragedy and the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy? Plus, that organization isn't just one person, but a group of people. But if they're known as the ultimate despair, they're high school students, right? Well, if they actually were able to do it, then I guess that's why we were called the Ultimates. Then the killings were involved in connected to them as well? It's no use, I'm gonna freeze to death. I'm at my limit. I need to get out of here. Shivering, I ran out of the freezing room. Phew, that was close. I nearly froze to death. So where should I go next? Yeah, no. Like, I'm trying to think, like, what does this all mean? There's so many things that I'm terrified to learn about now. Like, were the students of Hope's Peak Academy helping the ultimate despair? Was, like, Nagito and Makoto and Chihiro and Mondo and everyone, was everyone helping the ultimate despair? Like, what's going on? Oh, hey, what the... Hi. No, I should ignore it. I'm just going to pretend I didn't see him.
Jeez.
When I went inside this room, that bastard bear was suddenly here. Keeps glancing at me. I wonder why. It's gonna be shittier either way.
Damn right.
So I'll let you handle it. There's no way I'm gonna deal with that idiot. I don't want to do that either. Alright.
Hiya.
Why, hello, Hajime. hope you're doing pleasantly well. Are you pleasingly well? You're pleasingly well, right? What are you doing here?
No.
Well, there was another thing I needed to tell you about this floor. I got bored of drawing manga. Can you forgive me for telling you by word of mouth? Should have done that to begin with. Didn't want to read your manga in the first place. A high school student who doesn't like to read manga is like a sumo wrestler who doesn't like eating hot pots. I'm getting really fed up with your babbling. Hurry up. What did you need to tell me? It's about that key piece of information you've been waiting so long for.
What?
Surprise! It's about the ultimate despair. Huh? Even though the term ultimate despair refers to a group of people these days,
Actually,
it was originally the title for a high school girl who was the most powerful, evil, and feared person alive. Okay. High school girl.
yes indeed.
That's not a name I wanted to hear. Lady Junko Enoshima. Junko Enoshima?
Hey,
As the former Ultimate Despair, she created a despair brimming with charm and humor. And created the Ultimate Despairs. There was one really horrible person in that group.
don't fuck with me.
Hold on a second. I don't know what the Ultimate Despairs are, but it's not that easy to form an organization. There's no way people would join some fucked up organization created by a high school girl.
Unbelievable.
Humans who are obsessed with their philosophy have an uncanny power to attract others. It's a trait shared by many famous leaders throughout history, right? There's nothing strange about it.
Hey,
That holds true for Lady Junko. Lady Junko. With her charismatic ability to attract people, she even influenced those in the highest echelons of power.
Phew.
Her connections were the main reason that incident became the tragedy in the first place. So, she even recruited people who would have been in a position to neutralize the threat?
Huh?
Then, what was their purpose?
Huh?
Eh? Like I said, why did they cause that incident? It doesn't make any sense. They had a purpose, right? There's no way they'd do what they did without a purpose.
Hey,
It was Junko Enoshima's despair. Huh? For Junko Enoshima, despair isn't about purpose. A set of principles, a way of life, or an instinct. Despair is what defies Junko Enoshima as Junko Enoshima. What are you saying? I'm a stuffed plushie. Hajime is a human. It's exactly like that. Junko Enoshima is full of so much despair that she's truly hopeless. Living, dying, eating, loving, for her, everything is despair. What the hell? With her overwhelming force of personality, Junko recruited the ultimate despairs one by one. She controlled their despair by taking advantage of their love, hate, grudges, everything really. Junko's despair is far more dreadful than any other. That idea had been slammed right into their minds. And so, the ultimate despairs who had been recruited became nothing more than Junko's limbs. All despair, whether it was their own or anyone else's, was decided by Junko Enoshima. Like believers making offerings to their god. Like a mother providing food for their children. They dedicated all despair so that they could escape from despair, all in Junko Enoshima's name. For example, they killed their families and friends, and even destroyed their bodies through relentless mutilations. And to hopelessly top it off, they completely believed it was for something they had to do. There's no way something like that crazy is possible. I could believe Mikon could do that. She had a pretty shit life. I could believe she would do that.
What?
Do you know about the final days of the reserve course students during the tragedy of the Hope's Peak Academy? Final days?
In other words,
Junko has the power to change people's values. This is also true of famous people throughout history. Hey, what do you mean final days? What happened to the reserve department?
of course. course.
They fulfilled their role as disposable limbs. They believed in what they needed to. And so, the 2,357 students of the Reserve Department all committed mass suicide. Mass suicide?
What'd you say?
All 2,357 students? Then what about Hajime? Whoops, it wasn't all of them. Of course. One person was excluded. One person was excluded, huh? Is that me?
Damn it.
I don't believe it. There's no way I can believe this. Ultimate Despair, Junko Enoshima? Doesn't scare me at all. I mean,
Bastard!
Junko Enoshima. How do you know that? Huh? How does Fuyuhiko know that Junko is dead? Hold on, I got a question for you, Fuyuhiko. Hey, Fuyuhiko. Is it true what you said? Junko Enoshima is really dead?
Huh?
Huh? What? You didn't see? There was a book called Manga for Morons Killing School Life, and that bloody a bloody classroom. Oh wait, what was that you said about killing school life? Like the killings we were involved in, they were killings that happened at Hope's Peak Academy. As I recall, the mastermind took her own life because the remaining students worked together to defeat her.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. The killing school life ended up failing in the end. As a result, the 6 students who survived managed to escape the academy.
Hey,
For a manga about killing school life, it was drawn with a lot of subtle images and dumb gags. According to that, the mastermind behind the failed killing school life was Junko Enoshima. The mastermind took her own life, which means Junko Enoshima is dead.
like,
Turns out the killing school life was all part of the whole biggest, most awful whatever incident. Junko took away the memories of the former students at Hope's Peak Academy and forced them to kill each other. Former students of Hope's Peak Academy. And she took their memories away? Just like us? Apparently the whole thing was being filmed by surveillance cameras and broadcast to the world. There's a limit to being a cruel asshole. The surveillance cameras were broadcasting the whole thing?
so.
Students of Hope's Peak Academy are widely known as symbols of hope. By forcing people to watch these symbols of hope kill each other for the sake of their survival, they were trying to fill everyone who watched the broadcast with despair all at once. That's messed up.
Huh.
But that messed up plan was stopped. Junko Enoshima failed. Junko lost to the students, and she placed in her trap. And after being overcome by the despair she created, she took her own life. Then Junko is no more. No matter how horrible she was, there's no reason to fear someone who's dead. Whether Monokuma's story is true or not, doesn't matter.
Bastard!
Junko Enoshima isn't alive anymore. Then, who is our enemy? If Junko Enoshima is already dead, are the rest of the despairs behind this? Are the followers of Junko carrying out her will? That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, the killings we're involved in resemble the killing school life. Well, I don't know who the hell is imitating Junko or making us go through this, but an imitation is just that, an imitation.
No shit!
If the students of Hope's Peak Academy stop the real deal, there's no way we'll lose to some fake. If this is really an imitation, are those surveillance cameras the same too? The cameras all over Jabberwock Island. Are they broadcasting to somewhere, just like the surveillance cameras during this killing school life? I'm honestly terrified of something soon that I hope doesn't get revealed, because Like, I look up backgrounds for, like, characters from the game a lot. And one picture that I've seen, which was fan-made, so it wasn't, like, a screenshot or anything, was something about Chihiro. And I'm very terrified now. Oh, Jesus. I feel a little ill. Okay. And Hajime, you totally know about that story, huh? What? Do you have a problem with that? Well, I really wanted you to read the manga version since I took the time to draw it.
What are you gonna do?
Oh well, I'll just raise the flag. Flag? What do you mean raise the flag? What's going to happen if you do that?
Ooh,
One step at a
how
time.
exciting.
You're getting closer to clearing my character route. You're not making any sense again.
Well now.
Now then, I'll give you all guys my all. I'll tell you everything I know, including information from on the outside world. On the outside and the inside. I'll raise them flags like crazy.
What?
What a surprise. Oh,
Hey,
no. Even though the term ultimate despair is for... Okay. He's just saying the same thing again. Then I'm leaving. I'm on the 4th floor now. It changed to a different hallway again. It's so sudden. What's going on to make something like this happen? No, I've already decided that I'm not going to be surprised. That's right, there's no time to be surprised by something like this. I mean, it's quite obvious we're in a simulation now. I mean, there's no way something like this could actually be happening. But what does that mean that is happening outside? I'm so curious. Are people not actually dead? Because I'd be kind of stoked for that. But I'm also worried that some of the people I like are evil. Like, really, really evil. Ah, the fuck is that? The fuck is that? This looks like a music room. I feel like I can see something strange. Yeah? Looks like it's some sort of monument. Why would there be a monument in the music room? Fucking, I knew it! The Future Foundation is good. God damn it. Or at least I thought it was good. Let's say. Not just that. The marking engraved into the monument is the symbol for the Future Foundation, right? Below that symbol, there's a short passage engraved. To combat the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history, the graduates of Hope's Peak Academy were among the many who established the Future Foundation. The Future Foundation was established by the graduates of Hope's Peak Academy? Aren't they known as the World Ender? This is completely different. Monokuma, he completely made it up. What is this? Words are floating in the air. This is like a hologram, right? The floating letters are forming a sentence. It looks like a passage from an email. Regarding the report we gave you the other day, we have obtained information. A person who claims to be a survivor of Hope's Peak Academy. Upon further investigation, there are a total of 15 survivors. You may be wondering about the number of people at this time. If there are survivors of Hope's Peak Academy, it's possible they might be targeted by the ultimate despair. We believe we should inquire them and place them in our care as soon as possible, though I do not believe the group can go that far without Junko and Ashima rallying them. In a worst-case scenario, we must prevent a repeat of the killing school life. Also, if they are the survivors of Hope's Peak Academy, we should expect them to be quite valuable to us. However, we are still investigating the details of their origins and we have not located them either. We will continue investigating this matter. Also, regarding a separate matter, we received a special report from our research facility on Jabberwock Island. Preparations have been complete. It seems we can proceed with the experimental phase of the Neo World program. Survivors of Hope Peak Academy? 15 students? Is that about us? Excluding Chiaki, who was part of the Future Foundation, there was definitely 15 of us, but what does survivors mean? It's like they're talking from some other world. What happened outside Jabberwock Island? It's the most... Excuse me. If the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history is really true, then the world isn't normal anymore? Maybe? I'm starting to feel like we might be better off not remembering our memories we've lost. Probably. I guess that's all the clues in this room. It's finally confirmed that the Future Foundation was on our side, at least. They were founded by the graduates of Hope Peak Academy, and they took us in to protect us. But if that's true, Chucky should have made that clearer to us. Now, as long as Monokuma was around, she probably couldn't say anything so carelessly. Monokuma, if he's the Future Foundation's enemy, then his true identity must be the ultimate despair who calls the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. The ones who are carrying out the will of Junko Onishima are making us go through this. Also, this caught my attention in the email too. What is this research facility on Jabberwock Island mentioned in the email? What's that about? The only Future Foundation facility we found was that ancient ruins. There's no way that that's the research facility. If there really is a research facility on this island, there should be other Future Foundation members here. Somehow, there are still so many Somehow, there are still so many mysteries. Yeah, no. This is definitely a simulation. I mean, it's been obvious for a little while now that this is obviously a simulation. Everything's fucked. But, like, there's so many questions about everything that's going on. Oh, I'm so curious. Anyway, I need to go get some more water because my throat's... There's been a lot of stuff to talk about. So, I need to go get more water. I'll be right back in like 2 minutes. I'll be real quick with this one because I want to know. I have like some ideas forming in my head, but I mean, I'm not going to talk about them yet because I don't have anything really concrete. But I'll be right back.